Let's talk about the last guy who got in the race by the name of Mike Bloomberg. My friend Gayle King sat down with him, his first formal seated interview since joining the race. Gayle, being one of the best interviewers in our industry, got results. I'm going to play for you those results on Stop and Frisk and about Cory Booker. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Stop and Frisk, you recently apologized for that. Some people are suspicious of the timing of your apology.
Well, the mark of an intelligent, competent person is when they make a mistake, they have the guts to stand up and say, I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
We don't question your belief that you made a mistake. I think the question is the timing that you realize you made the mistake.
Well, nobody asked me about it until I started running for president, so come on. Cory Booker endorsed me a number of times, and I endorsed Cory Booker a number of times. He's very well spoken. He's got some good ideas.
Karine Jean-Pierre, help us out here. Cory Booker called it a trope, said he was taken aback, but Bloomberg apologized and it was accepted.
Well, here's the thing with Bloomberg. Everything that I just heard, and you're right, Gayle King certainly brought the receipts. She got the results there in that interview. The problem is Bloomberg comes off out of step. He comes off misguided. When you think about Stop and Frisk, just earlier this year, he doubled down, he tripled down. He was very proud of that Stop and Frisk policy, which was seen as a civil rights violation by many experts in New York City and incredibly problematic. So he comes off inauthentic when he says, oh, nobody has asked me about it, when he's been very proud of that policy. But here's the thing, Brian. Bloomberg's theory of the case is essentially this. He believes two things. Biden needs to collapse, and when he does, his voters will come running in his open arms and or a brokered convention. The problem is there is no data that shows that's going to happen. Both are pretty far-fetched. And to think that a billionaire from New York is what the Democratic base needs, it's kind of out of step there as well. There's nothing that says Democrats want a New York billionaire. We already saw that. We already have one in the White House. And so, and the other part of it, too, is we don't just need a candidate in 2020. We need someone who's going to have a movement, who's going to bring everybody together, Latino voters, black voters, young voters, people who don't come out and vote. And he just is not showing that that's what he can do. He can inspire people and get folks out.
And Rick Wilson, this is quoting you from Twitter today, and this stopped me in my tracks. A little quick back-of-the-envelope math indicates that at his current spending rate, Michael Bloomberg will spend roughly $200 million by the Iowa caucus. Yep. Or you could have had the Senate. Rick?
I call this the bonfire of the billionaire vanities. These guys, Tom Steyer and Mike Bloomberg, are in this race. And, you know, if they want to be rid of Trump, if they want to really do something effective with all that money burning a hole in their pocket, they would be out spending $200 million to register voters. They'd be out spending $200 million in the swing states in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, hammering Donald Trump to a bloody, flat, greasy pulp on the highway with ads. But, you know, you've got Mike Bloomberg spending money in Los Angeles and New York City and Miami on television ads right now. And the burn rate is spectacular. And I don't think it's going to move them much farther than they are right now. I mean, Tom Steyer's been spending money like a madman for 7 or 8 months now, and he's still at 3%. So there is, as Corinne says, what the Democratic Party does not seem to be crying out for right now is the billionaire savior on the elected side. But they could use those resources very effectively to bring pressure on the Senate, to bring pressure on Donald Trump, to bring pressure on even on some of the House members. So it's a choice, and they've made it for their own ego, I think, more than they have for political effectiveness more broadly.
Two of our returning veterans who always make our conversation better and make us think. Karine Jean-Pierre, Rick Wilson, thank you both for coming on a Friday night at the end of the week we've all had. Coming up.